Welcome to the Future Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Peace, CEO and founder of Sway Outcomes. We are a global customer engagement consultancy, helping brands to build repeatable customer revenue streams through innovative customer strategy. In this podcast series, we look at the future of customer engagement. We understand that tomorrow's customer is hard to reach. Retaining and growing customer relationships has never been so difficult. I'll discuss the latest challenges and solutions with industry champions, and we focus on what's next for the future of customer engagement. If you'd like to be on the show, then find me on LinkedIn. I'm always looking for new and interesting discussions with visionaries of customer success. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of Future Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Peace, and today I'm thrilled to be joined by Claire Gartland, who is Global Customer Marketing and Loyalty Expert within the industry. Now, me and Claire have known each other for quite some time, and Claire has an unbelievable level of experience in loyalty across multiple sectors. So I'm really thrilled to have Claire on today. So Claire, please tell us in 2 or 3 minutes all about yourself.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. So I have worked in loyalty really from the start of my career. Started out in North America, been doing it in the UK as well, and also on international programs. So working with the likes of British Airways on their executive club, American Express, their premium products, Samsung with Sky, GoDaddy is also Bank of Montreal and JP Morgan. So yeah, a lot of different sectors.
Really varying sectors. You don't normally get that. People have worked kind of hotel and airline or retail and grocery, but not across every. It seems like you've been in so many sectors.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's kind of been my strategically my approach to things. It's, I don't want to be an industry expert. I want to be about the customer. And I think a lot of the learnings that you get from different sectors really helps enhance where you go to next and what you can do for something that maybe have tunnel vision in their industry.
Yeah, perfect. Well, great. Thank you so much for coming on. And we've got a very interesting debate ahead of us. I know that you want to talk very much about the customer, as you've just said, and how things are evolving in the industry. But before we do that, tell me about a recent customer experience that you've really enjoyed, or you've thought was a really strong experience a brand has offered to a customer.
I mean, I can't think of one so much that comes to mind in terms of recent weeks, but I think one I always kind of lean on and admire is American Express. As I mentioned, I did work with them, and I think they do a great job at not only the brand working alongside the loyalty proposition, but understanding the different types of customers and having programs in there that really meet, I think, customers' passion points. I mean, you can't get really excited about borrowing money and paying bills, but they've really done a good job of incorporating what people's interests are and serving that back to add that extra value.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Amex are very good at that, and I think Amex also offer a lot of value to consumers. Those points and cashbacks, etc., are worth a lot, and also their customer service is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you phone them up, they just get you. No chat bots or anything like that. You're through to a person. They know what
Yeah.
you need. They can solve every problem. So yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
Amex is a great one. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. So we now get into kind of the meat and veg of the program, or the podcast rather, where we're going to start talking about what's coming next. It's all about the future customer, this podcast, hence the name.
Yeah.
So tell me, where do you think we're going next? What do you think is interestingly topical right now?
Gosh. Dare I say it, AI, like everybody else. It's AI, everything's AI. And,
Mm,
I think it's a loaded term, I think, for a lot of people. And what does it mean and how does it involve? But I think more and more, we're going to have more data, more insights. And what does that mean as marketers? And I think it's going to change. And I think people are looking for that stronger connection with companies and brands. And I think you and I have chatted about it before, just, where does customer sit in the business right now? And I think it will no longer be loyalty being a perk, but it should be a power. loyalty, having that loyal customer base and what you do with them. And, a lot of companies are seeing it sit in under CRO, and it becomes really a money play. And I think there needs to be a stronger alignment with brand, as well as customer. And it really needs to get that foundation of marketing and the CMO behind it, I think, to really take off. And I think it's what customers are expecting. I
Yeah,
think
that's it. That's an interesting thought. I mean, back in the day when I started out in loyalty was kind of the nerdy money, the
yeah,
numbers part of marketing, right? And it was kind of the nerds down the end of the office that
yeah,
kind of ran loyalty and the data. They sort of sat with the researchers. And marketing tended to be more brand, like what does it look like,
yeah.
and the fonts and the colors and the advertising and all that. But I think it's become so much more important with the data. And as we move into AI, we're collecting and processing even more data all the time. So it's interesting to hear you say, well, actually, maybe it's starting to move into the CRO. Are brands starting to see this asset as a revenue generator?
They are. I think that, I mean, the buzzword right now probably is growth, and everybody's looking for growth. And I think, when you've got a strong base, it does represent growth, but I think that's a very short-term view. And I think if you look at customer over life cycle, it really is more, I think, part of the marketing function in creating that deeper connection. I think,
Yeah.
the days of people, scrolling on large platforms where they're inundated, with multiple messages, people are looking for that deeper connection. And I think the brands that can do that, there's no point in a brand saying, we just want your money, and then trying to have a loyalty program at the same time. It has to be connected, because that's that emotional, I think, the emotional link that people are looking for, and they're wanting to connect with brands. And you see it, I mean, gosh, you look at, I think fandom now, right? When you look at some of the pop singers and some of the brands, people really want to get engaged and are willing to put the time in and want to help craft something. And I don't think you'll do that if you don't have a brand you're not connected to or can relate to. And I think putting it
Yeah.
under CRO is literally just that kind of, what can we get to hit our numbers this month?
Yeah, and maybe that's a reaction. I know what you mean. I totally agree with what you're saying. I think, is it a reaction to the fact that acquisition has become so expensive? We used to say, oh, it's like four or 5 to 1, the cost of.
Yeah.
I think it's more like 20 to 1 now.
Yeah.
The acquisition tools out there are very expensive, and acquisition is
Yeah.
hard. So maybe that's the reaction. That's why the CRO is sort of leaning in and saying, right, we've got to make more out of our existing customers.
Look, I mean, again, and I think that's probably, like you said, that was financial pressures. And I think,
Yeah.
when it was 4 to 1 times more expensive to get a new customer, that's when we probably had more money and we were
Yeah.
throwing it at it. Now
Yeah. Yeah.
budgets are being looked at. So you're looking at customers. But again, it's looking at customer life cycle. And,
Mm,
there's some products, like a lifespan of a phone now is what, 3, 4 years sometimes, right? So
mm.
to kind of keep badgering them's not creating that relationship. And as well, in heavily penetrated markets, there are no new customers to get.
Yeah.
So again, it feels like efforts are being put in the wrong area, as opposed to really nurturing that base and getting them deeper in, as opposed to,
Yeah.
ignoring them for something that might be shiny and new.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Maybe within our sector, we've been guilty of trying to use the data to maximize that opportunity. What else can we sell them? What deals did they react to? Keep serving all those deals, keep serving up the frequency and value driving activity. And maybe we need to have a step back and start to think about community and personalization and CSR and all those emotional connections.
Completely. I mean, I started off kind of talking about AI, and I think, so many people and companies are looking at, what do we do? How do we create ads, or get copy out? And I think it's a really short view of what's happening. And you look at all the sensors that are coming out. I mean, Google glasses are going to be here, or Meta glasses are going to be here pretty soon. And what does that mean? Well, we can actually see our customers, maybe looking at our competitors longer, and how are we pulling them away, and what do we do with that? So it's not that immediate AI. We've always been doing propensity modeling, But how do we shorten people's consideration journeys? How do we make things easier using AI and different tools as opposed
Mm.
to kind of just doing what we've always been doing,
Yeah.
and hoping for a different result?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe the AI will help us to become more personalized based on all this wealth of data that we're able to capture. And that I think is where people need to go with it. The AI will help you gather, calculate, and use the data. And you've got to invest, right? People have to
Yeah.
invest if you're going to have that competitive advantage. Yeah, I
Completely.
agree.
And how do you get them, how do you get those people when they've got so many options to choose from? And when
Yeah,
agents start to get involved and start making those decisions for us, how do we kind of be front and center? And I don't think, the traditional ways of just having an offer is going to work in terms of loyalty. Because like I said, I don't know 5 years down the road, will we be making the decision if we just say to our, home systems, go buy me the cheapest, tissue
yeah,
paper?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
there's absolutely no link between a brand there. But if we're doing something and reaching people, either through gamification or passion points, that decision for them is so much easier.
Mm. So it's actually about investing in the tools that are available to us to make the engagement more real rather than actually thinking, oh, this is going to save me a fortune. I can get rid of half my team because the bot will do it. Yeah,
Well,
I'd
exactly.
agree. Yeah.
And I think there's a grocery store up north here in the UK that's actually just recently announced they're taking out all their self-assistant tills.
Ah, really?
Um, so again, you're kind of seeing this is what people want. They want more interaction. And I think the companies that can use AI and use those tools, but have a way to still interact with their customers will
Mm,
win, and come up ahead where they've got that base that's giving them information. I mean, people will tell you if there's something in it for them.
yeah.
And I think, I look at some of the department stores here in the UK, their loyalty programs, it's all by chance. You'd have just as much luck getting a reward by filling out a contest.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
haven't really merged, who am I, what am I doing? And the people that shouldn't get rewarded probably are getting more rewarded than those that aren't.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What should the brands, like those department stores, what should they be doing differently then? Should they be trying to understand when you're in store what you might be looking for trends in your data that might suggest a birthday, kids, I don't know. Is this the sort of a level that they need to start to think going to?
I mean, definitely. I mean, I think that's just, the first layer of it. And it's
Mm,
kind of shocking to me where we are nowadays that they haven't figured out somebody that's bought a lot of baby baby food or baby outfits isn't thinking about preschool in 3 years and kind of
yeah,
making that connection. But I don't think they're managing life cycle, but they've got the actual space to make experiences. Um, and I just don't think they're utilizing it. And similarly, as I said, it's a random luck if you get the reward at the end of the day. You've shown your
yeah,
card, you win. There's
yeah,
no correlation to I just spent £1,000 versus somebody that just spent five, getting that reward. And I think there needs to be a much stronger link up between what customers are doing, what they will be doing, and then rewarding on that. But then I think again, there's those dream lists, and how do you understand what their passions are? I have to buy, tissue paper or milk, and I might not want to, but what do I want to do, and how
yeah,
do you tap into that and
yeah.
create that community?
Yeah, perfect. Really interesting. And I think that is where all brands need to go, right? They need to start thinking about, is it really relevant to offer me a 3 for 2 on jeans if I just bought jeans last week?
Yeah.
Like it
Oh,
doesn't seem, yeah, I mean, all brands should have a promotional strategy, not knocking the promotional strategy, but we also need to be thinking deeper about how we might cross sell to me within that
yeah.
store or upsell or actually just make me feel good about the purchase that I made last week. Yeah. Yeah, really
Exactly.
interesting.
I think businesses, I think to that point though, again, I'm a big believer in ask people, if my department store said how many people are in your household, what's important to you, saving money or getting the latest, I'll tell you if I start getting that served back. And I think that two-way conversation, especially with retailers, isn't there. It's very much one way. Here's our promotion. We've made these assumptions.
Mm.
And I think that's, when we look forward to where tech's going to take us, it will be those communities and it will be people sharing information on interests,
Yeah.
um, I
Yeah.
think there's huge potential, when you think about even like grocery stores, you know, there's home cooks. Now there's a community just in itself. There's a community of I hate cooking but need to feed four.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you get them talking?
Chicken nuggets and beans. That's what happens in my house.
Yeah, but exactly, and I think that's just it. There'll be a group of people that are looking for something maybe other than chicken nuggets, but something,
Yeah.
the same amount of effort that
Yeah.
that kind of creates that community.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Okay. Yeah, really interesting. And just one thing that you mentioned, the Google glasses, which they freaked me
Mm,
out a bit. But I saw
yeah,
yesterday someone shared with me a thing on YouTube where a guy had the glasses. Don't know if they were Google or Meta or
yeah,
which brand they were, but let's say Google glasses. And he was just walking up to people on the street, total strangers, and going, "Oh, hello, Claire." And these things were recognizing. They were bringing up the
yes,
person's profile on LinkedIn, and they were going, "Oh, hello, Claire. Oh, we met at Samsung. How are you? I know that you work there between blah blah blah." And he was just able to regurgitate this information that the glasses would give,
yeah,
and totally freaking people out that he knew all this stuff
yeah,
about them when they had never met. And people were like going, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember meeting you," and they literally had not met him. So
yeah.
that is a bit scary. The old glasses, aren't they?
Do,
They're a bit
do you know
freaky.
what's even I think probably scarier about that? And I've been doing a lot of studying in the ethics of AI and so forth. And I think there was a similar case study, I think, in the US where it was bringing up, recognizing the person, bring up their home address and their phone number.
Yeah,
So you could meet somebody on the street, not even know them, but know where they lived, who they are, and so forth. So I
yeah,
think, again, that really brings it back to the whole brand and the role of brand in that, I have to trust you. I have to
yeah,
trust what you're doing
yeah.
and, feel safe.
Ethically and
Yeah.
morally, and yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
think that's a huge kind of current for what's going to happen in terms of the ethics and how you're treating my data. And do I feel comfortable engaging with you and telling you this information? But
yeah,
I
of
think
course.
for marketers, I mean, when you think about the Google Glasses, and I saw an example of, where it could be down the road. But, if you're in a grocery store and you want 50% off a product, watch this video, so you're having to have people standing, staring, looking at different aisles for the best deals. So again, from a marketing perspective, do you want to be competing for again, the coupon people are watching, or do you want that loyal base that's just going to pick it up, your product up versus going
Yeah,
for the discount?
yeah. Because at the end of the day, you've really got to lock people in with the passion for them to not just go, "Oh yeah, I'll just take that one. It's cheaper."
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. It
I think there's
depends
a
on the
big,
industry, I suppose.
yeah, it does, but I think there's a big misconception about what loyalty is, and is it convenience? Is it price? And what are
Yeah,
you really competing on? And I think if you can lock them in, make them feel a part of a community and even contributing. And
yeah,
I think social media, your YouTubers, your influencers do a great job at that. People are committed, and it's that, again, it's created that, two-way conversation.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's a real key point, isn't it? That we need to be, if we want to understand the customer and talk to them about the things they like, we've got to ask them. We've
Yeah.
got to find that out. So it all starts with the customer, right?
It's key. I mean,
Mm.
there's just no point, I think, in terms of looking at products and what you're doing or anything unless you understand who your audience is and what they want,
Yeah,
and getting to know them on a deeper level. That's what AI can do. We
yeah,
can get to know you and create ways to get to know you. But again, if it's just a one-way conversation, I don't think you'll have that emotional connection with
yeah,
people, and somebody can easily take them away.
yeah. So really, in summary, what we're saying is AI is going to be massive, but don't use AI. Don't think about AI in terms of like managing campaigns and potentially getting rid of people because the bot can do it. Think about it in terms of how you use it to find out more about the person, the individual,
Yeah.
and shape the comms and the offers around that. Yeah,
And
and
create
also,
ways, use it to create ways to actually engage with them more than you have been, I think.
yeah, exactly.
And I think, if you can create those kind of experiences that they're looking for, whether it's, in real life or online, they will keep coming back. They're now vested in that.
Yeah, yeah,
And
perfect. And also, the other summary would be don't put loyalty under your CRO, put it under your CMO. And Google Glasses are terrifying.
yes, exactly. I'm not getting any.
Yeah, fair enough.
Watch,
Okay, great.
next time you see me, I'll be all like tucked in, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, well, yeah, won't we all probably? But
Yeah.
yeah, amazing. Right, this is great. This is really interesting feedback. Thank you. I'm sure that people listening and watching will have loved to have heard this. So we're coming to the end. We're nice, short and sweet, which is great. That's how we like our future customer
Great.
podcast. But we do have one surprise question. We always ask
All
one
right.
trivial question, and we'll see if people know. And there's been some crackers so far. So tell me, do you know what is the only animal in the world where the male gestates the babies?
I have heard this before, and I'm a big David Attenborough fan, so I'm going to say I've heard
Excellent.
it from him. I think it's the seahorse.
It
Is that
is.
correct?
It is.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, well done. Well
If
done.
everything goes too much AI, I'll go back to seahorses and what I know there.
Yeah, marine biologist is inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, amazing. Thank you so much, Claire. And thank you, everyone that's listened, whether you've listened live or online. It's been an absolute pleasure to host this for you. Hope you found it really useful.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. We'll speak again soon.